Okay, so we're diving into a story today that kind of blew up online, and for good reason, I think.
Yeah.
It all went down back in December of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
A busy afternoon.
Right in the middle of the holiday season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
City restaurant packed, the vibe.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
But amidst all the holiday cheer, this kind of quieter drama is unfolding.
Uh-huh.
And our sources paint a pretty vivid scene.
Okay.
We're introduced to Michael, this guy who's really down on his luck.
Yeah.
He walks in looking for help.
Right.
Hasn't eaten in days.
Oh, wow.
All he wants is a warm meal,
Just the basics.
just something.
Yeah.
And what's interesting here is how the sources all emphasize the setting.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just some hungry guy walking into a restaurant.
Right.
It's December,
Mm-hmm.
the holidays.
Supposed to be a time for generosity,
Exactly.
goodwill, and all that.
Right. You'd think that holiday spirit might soften a few hearts.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's not what Michael finds.
Oh, no.
The waiter, we'll get to him later. He just meets Michael's plea with this harsh indifference.
Oh, wow.
Straight up says, this isn't a charity.
Yeah.
You don't pay. You don't eat.
Wow.
And this moment is crucial because it kind of highlights this pervasive problem.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just dismiss someone based on how they look,
Right.
make assumptions, their whole story.
Totally. We all do it.
Yeah, and this waiter's reaction, it reflects this deeper issue,
Mm-hmm.
judging people in need.
Yeah, that lack of empathy,
Yeah, and it's everywhere.
unfortunately.
Makes you think about those implicit biases we all carry,
Oh, absolutely.
We put people in boxes so quickly,
Yeah.
often without even realizing it,
Right.
and that can have real consequences.
Especially for people who are already struggling.
Exactly. And what's crazy is this simple interaction, it becomes this microcosm of larger societal dynamics.
Yeah.
Raises all these questions about poverty privilege,
No, those invisible barrier.
the things that people are up against every day.
It's a lot.
And as if all this drama wasn't enough,
What else is there?
there's another layer to this whole thing.
Okay.
Because sitting in a corner booth, quietly watching all this unfold, is Keanu Reeves.
Whoa, no way.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Sources really emphasize this contrast.
Yeah.
You've got Keanu, this Hollywood A-lister,
All right.
in this totally ordinary setting,
Free.
just watching this everyday interaction.
Yeah, and it just pulls you in.
You can practically feel the energy shift when he steps in. He doesn't even hesitate.
Wow.
Just says, hold up,
Really?
in that calm but firm voice of his.
Yeah, I can hear it.
And suddenly everyone's eyes are on him.
Wow, what a moment.
This is where that bystander effect comes into play.
Yeah.
At first, everyone's just passively watching.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing anything.
Right.
Then Keanu speaks up,
Mm-hmm.
and it disrupts everything.
Yeah.
Forces everyone to confront what's happening.
Right. They have to make a choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he goes right for the waiter.
Oh, man.
You treat people like that.
Direct.
The waiter tries to defend himself,
What does he say?
mumbles something about standards.
Oh, jeez.
But Keanu doesn't let up.
Good.
And it's not just about calling out bad behavior.
Right.
It's about dismantling the justifications behind it.
Yeah.
Like, when the waiter mentions those standards,
Mm-hmm.
Keanu flips the script.
How so?
Since when did kindness lower your standards?
Right.
He asks.
Ooh!
Forces the guy to actually think about his actions.
Yeah. Confront his own values.
And then he does something completely unexpected.
Okay.
Gestures to Michael and says, "Come here.
Wow.
Sit down.
He's not messing around.
I'll cover your meal.
Seriously.
Whatever you want, it's on me."
The whole place must have gone silent.
You could hear a pin drop.
I bet.
And this moment is significant for a few reasons.
Yeah.
It's this act of defiance against the waiter's behavior,
Uh-huh.
but it's also this powerful display of empathy.
Right. Recognizing Michael's humanity. Right. Giving him dignity in this vulnerable moment.
And using his platform to amplify the message.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't help but wonder, would this have happened if it were anyone else?
That's a good question.
It's Keanu Reeves,
Adds a whole other level
Where his celebrity status creates this power dynamic.
that you can't ignore.
And it's not even about the money.
Right, it's bigger than that.
It's about Keanu using his platform to stand up for someone.
Yeah. Someone who's been marginalized.
It's a message to all of us
What do you mean?
that we all have a responsibility to speak up against injustice.
To use whatever influence we have.
Exactly.
And it's important to point out, he doesn't stop at just buying the meal.
Right.
He actually talks to Michael.
Yeah.
Asks his name. learns about his situation.
He's going beyond charity.
Yeah, he's recognizing Michael as a person.
Right, with his own story and struggles.
Exactly.
And that's where the sources really highlight Keanu's approach.
Okay.
He doesn't offer pity. He challenges Michael.
What does he say?
Surviving isn't enough. You need more. I'll help you.
Powerful stuff.
But then he adds, first we have a problem to deal with. It's like he's setting the stage for something bigger.
Right.
He's taking care of the immediate need for food.
Yeah.
But he's also hinting at long-term support.
Wow.
Empowering Michael to get back on his feet.
It's a subtle shift, but it's huge.
And that's when he turns back to the waiter.
Oh, boy.
Who's standing there nervously by the bar.
Yeah, I bet.
You think treating people like dirt is a joke.
Ooh, he's not holding back.
The waiter stammers, tries to defend himself.
Yeah.
Keanu cuts him off.
What did he say?
You humiliated him.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's okay to judge people based on their clothes or how much money they have.
That's a reality check.
It's a moment of reckoning, for sure.
Right.
He's not letting the waiter off easy.
Good.
Making him face the impact of his actions.
Right.
And it's all happening in front of everyone.
Yeah, the whole restaurant is watching.
You can feel the tension. Everyone's glued to this.
Wow.
Keanu demands the manager.
No way.
He's done with apologies and excuses.
He wants action.
Exactly.
Right.
And this is where the bystander effect takes another turn.
Okay, how so?
The manager, he's resistant at first.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But now he's got pressure not just from Keanu, but from the entire restaurant.
Right. Everyone's watching.
The attention creates this environment where he can't just ignore it.
It's powerful.
It's like Keanu turned this whole thing into a public forum.
Wow.
Where societal norms are being challenged.
And he's not letting anyone off the hook?
Nope.
That's amazing.
So we left off with Keanu demanding the manager do something right. It wasn't just about the waiter anymore.
Yeah, he wanted to turn this whole thing into a positive.
It's really striking how he takes charge, becomes this advocate for Michael.
And what's interesting is he doesn't just want to give him a handout.
Right.
He's pushing for a hand up.
Exactly.
He wants the manager to give Michael a real chance.
A chance to get back on his feet.
A trial job or something.
Right. It's a really important distinction.
Totally. He's not just trying to solve the immediate problem.
Right. It's about long-term empowerment, giving him the tools to rebuild his life.
Exactly.
I wonder how the manager reacted, though.
Yeah. I mean, it must have been pretty wild.
To have Keanu Reeves, like, dictating hiring practices.
Right. Totally out of the blue.
So our sources describe the manager as kind of flustered. Initially, he's resistant.
Makes sense.
He's saying they can't just hire anyone off the street.
Right. Got to follow procedures.
But Keanu doesn't back down.
Good.
He challenges those procedures.
What does he say?
Qualified for what? He asks.
Okay.
For a human being to be treated with decency, is that too much to ask?
Wow, that's powerful.
He's cutting through all the red tape, exposing how dehumanizing those rules can be.
Those barriers that keep people down.
Exactly, like he's saying, forget the rules.
Yeah.
This is about basic compassion.
And what's interesting is he's not just appealing to the manager's morals.
Right.
He's also using the power of the situation.
The whole restaurant is watching.
Yeah, everyone's got their phones out probably.
The pressure's on.
Big time.
It's this brilliant example of how public attention can force change.
Right. The manager knows he's in the spotlight.
He has to think carefully about how this is going to look.
On the one hand, he's got his procedures, his authority.
And on the other hand,
Keanu Reeves, a room full of witnesses.
A potential PR nightmare.
Yeah. It makes you wonder if things would have gone differently.
If it was just a private conversation.
Behind closed doors.
Away from all the cameras.
It speaks to the importance of speaking up. You know.
That bystander intervention.
Using our voices to hold people accountable.
It's that collective pressure.
That can sometimes lead to justice.
So under all this pressure from Keanu and everyone else,
manager gives in.
He offers Michael a trial job, a chance to prove himself.
Wow.
I can only imagine what Michael must have been feeling.
Totally. Going from being dismissed to being offered a lifeline.
All thanks to this stranger.
Yeah. It's incredible.
The sources describe him as speechless.
Yeah, just overwhelmed, I bet.
Remember he walked in feeling defeated?
Yeah, just trying to survive.
And suddenly he's got this opportunity.
A chance for a fresh start.
But Keanu doesn't stop there.
Oh, really?
He looks right at Michael and says, say yes.
Wow.
You're not leaving here without a chance.
And not just offering help, he's empowering Michael.
Yeah, like he's saying, I believe in you.
Even if you don't believe in yourself yet.
And that's crucial.
Totally.
It's not just about the job offer.
Right.
It's about restoring Michael's dignity.
Reminding him he's worthy.
That he deserves more than just pity.
It's powerful.
And Michael takes a deep breath and says, I will.
He accepts.
He does. He's ready to start this new chapter.
Wow, what a transformation.
And it's all because of one act of kindness.
It's amazing what a difference it can make.
And it's interesting, the sources don't really tell us what happens to Michael after this.
Oh, really?
We don't know if he's successful at the job or anything. Maybe it's intentional.
What do you mean?
It leaves us with this sense of possibility.
Okay.
Like, we can imagine Michael thriving, turning his life around.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But the story doesn't end there.
Oh, right, the waiter.
Keanu turns to him and says, you better learn from this. No one gets a pass when it comes to decency.
Ooh, he's holding him accountable.
It's a final reminder that actions have consequences. It's almost like this microcosm of social justice.
So?
You've got Michael the victim,
Right.
the waiter who did wrong, the bystanders, the other diners, the manager.
Yeah.
They're all forced to take sides.
To confront what happened.
And then there's Keanu.
The catalyst.
He's not a judge or anything.
He's made sure justice was served.
That kindness won out.
It's pretty amazing.
And with that, he just calmly goes back to his seat,
Wow.
leaving everyone buzzing about what just happened.
What a scene.
But the story doesn't end there.
Right, it goes beyond that restaurant.
It spreads through social media and news articles.
It becomes this parable
A modern-day fable.
about kindness and standing up for what's right.
And that's what we'll unpack in the final part of this deep dive.
Okay.
We'll look at the bigger implications of this story, the psychology of kindness,
Right.
and how the ripple effects of this one event
Continue to spread.
years later. You know, it's amazing how this story still has so much power years later.
Yeah, it really sticks with you.
We talked about how it affected Michael, the waiter, everyone in the restaurant. But what about the ripple effects, like, beyond that day?
That's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Because this wasn't just some private act of kindness.
Right.
It became a whole public thing.
With social media and everything.
Exactly. It was everywhere.
And all those people seeing it, hearing about it,
Yeah.
it must have shaped how they view Keanu Reeves.
Oh, absolutely.
And maybe even inspired some people to act differently.
Yeah, to be more kind.
It's like a modern parable almost.
Right. A story that gets passed on.
Because it taps into something we all crave.
That goodness in the world.
But it also feels relatable in a way.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been in situations,
Where we could have done something.
spoken up, offered help, chosen kindness.
And it makes you think about all those missed opportunities.
For sure.
All the times we could have made a difference.
Yeah, it makes you look in the mirror a bit.
Do you think that's why it went viral?
Maybe.
Because it's not just about Keanu.
It's about us too.
Our own potential for compassion and apathy.
Yeah, it's a challenge to all of us.
And it's not even about the huge gestures necessarily.
Right.
It's about the little things too.
Those everyday acts of kindness.
Holding the door for someone,
Smiling at a stranger.
listening to a friend who's going through something.
Yeah, those things matter,
And they often go unnoticed.
but they make a difference.
They can have a huge impact.
And what's interesting is they benefit the giver too.
Oh, totally.
There's actual research on this.
Really?
Yeah, doing good things for others, even small things.
Yeah.
It can make you happier, reduce stress. You feel more connected to others.
So it's not just about being a good person.
It's good for you too.
It's a win-win.
Exactly, a ripple effect of positivity.
And I think something we often forget is that kindness starts with ourselves.
Oh, that's so important.
Self-compassion, self-care.
Those are crucial.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly, you have to take care of yourself too.
This story is about so much.
Yeah, it's got all these layers.
Social justice, responsibility, collective action.
But it all comes down to one thing.
Kindness.
Kindness matters.
Big ways.
Yeah, small ways.
How we treat strangers and ourselves.
And as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I think the biggest
For
takeaway
everyone listening,
is to ask yourself,
what small act of kindness can you do today?
it could be anything.
Sending a nice text.
Helping someone out.
Just being kind to yourself.
Because every act of
No
kindness
matter how small.
has this power to ripple outward.
To make the world a little brighter.
Maybe even inspire someone else to pay it forward.
Yes.
Yeah, and that creates a chain reaction.
Of compassion spreading further and further.
So as you go about your day,
Remember the story of Keanu and Michael.
remember that kindness matters.
And that you have the power to make a difference.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
We'll see you next time.